Hello, fellow humans. Chris here again. Today I wanted to continue the conversation on freedom and 9/11. Wanted to kind of continue the last conversation and try to not keep my videos too long. Uh, Freedom is conditional, and it has always been conditional. And in a lot of ways, the fact that it is conditional supports the notion that it's not actually there. Sometimes it's conditional based on laws, based on expectations, but sometimes it's conditional implicitly. Sometimes the standards that you are living under might preclude you from enjoying some of the freedoms that the government says you have. Noam Chomsky talked about jobs, private sector jobs, being a form of tyranny, a stricter form of tyranny than our own government. You basically, by taking a job, you're selling yourself to servitude. So, in that sense, you don't have freedom while you're on the job. You might take a second job because you don't have the money from the first job. You might have a couple kids. You can't afford your life based on just the one job. So you have to take a second job. Now you're working evenings. Now you don't have the freedom to see your kids as much as you would like to. A lot of states have voter ID laws now. We talk about voting integrity, election fraud, all that stuff. And the idea of having a voter ID requirements has been a hot topic as of late. If you're that person that had to take a second job because you can't afford your lifestyle with your kids, all that, you might not be able to afford the fees that come with paying for the registration for your state-sponsored ID in order to be able to go and vote. You might not be able to afford the transportation that it takes to get to that place to vote or to get your voter ID. You might be in a situation where you can't afford medical insurance because the job you have doesn't provide medical care. Maybe you work a minimum wage job. Maybe you're unemployed and you can't afford quality health insurance, so you can't afford to go to the doctor for preventative care. And let's say you're in Texas. Let's say you're the victim of rape, and you can't get to a doctor in time to confirm your pregnancy because you couldn't afford that preventative care. You don't have the freedom anymore in Texas to have an abortion. You don't have that freedom. That freedom was conditional. You could only do it before 6 weeks. But you could get out of the state. But you can't afford to get out of the state to go somewhere else. So you don't have the freedom to get out of the state and go get an abortion. If you had the means, you would. So that's not necessarily the entirety of the federal government taking that freedom from you, but situationally, implicitly, it exists. Freedom is and has always been conditional. And the people in this country right now, there's a lot of people having this conversation about their freedoms being trampled on. Tyranny. President Biden is stomping on our freedoms with these mandates. There's always going to be a condition and a cost for, I don't even think it's freedom, I just think it's happiness, acceptable living conditions, being able to go outside again, being able to go to public outings without a mask on, without practicing social distancing, being able to hug your loved ones again. the costs of not getting a vaccine versus the costs of getting a vaccine and being able to reap the benefits that come with society at large getting over this pandemic, it's incomparable to me. There's a conditionality right now for being able to go out in public, and that condition is wearing a mask, keeping your distance, hopefully getting vaccinated. The conditions for freedom for people who don't want to do that, it's costly to a lot of other people. And as I said in the other video, your freedom might preclude somebody else's. Your interpretation of what freedom is might take away someone else's. But anyway, just something I was thinking about again, and I will be catching up with you again very soon. We'll continue this conversation. Please let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I'd be interested to hear. I think the conversation of freedom is an interesting one. Sometimes it seems like it comes up when it's convenient from an ideological perspective, but maybe it's good to have these conversations also during times of normalcy. So anyway, I will catch up with you all again soon. Thanks for checking on me. Have a great rest of your day, and remember, don't be afraid to question the consensus.